PowerPoint slide. I do have a, I do have a slide deck, but it's really more of kind of a recruitment deck of why maybe you would want to become part of the Canvas project. I'm just as happy to have, to facilitate a conversation amongst our group about any aspects of Canvas that you've, questions that you might have, and how we can kind of build off the expertise of each other to kind of identify where we're at with Canvas. Okay, Darlene is saying we don't have Canvas yet. Elaine looking to get more information. Good. Can you give a demo of Canvas? I don't know that I could do a demo of Canvas. Maybe. Maybe. Using it for the first time in November. Hi, Gino. Good to see you. Okay, so it does sound like a lot of you are maybe kind of interested in bringing Canvas into your organization. So maybe I will go ahead and do the slideshow, but please feel free to come off of mute and interact, ask questions. Feel free to put stuff in the chat. Maybe Karen and Patricia Black, our tech host, maybe the two of you can help me monitor the chat as well. Just make sure I don't miss anything. So let me go ahead and share. Okay. So so if you can just in the chat put yes or no as far as whether or not you currently are using Canvas. Yes, you are using Canvas, or no, you're not. Just a yes or no. Okay, so it's really kind of a split group, but maybe a few more no's, what I'm seeing at the moment. So our Canvas project, we're also calling it the CDLC, the California Distance Learning Cooperative. So you're going to hear it called a couple different things. Hopefully you're hearing the California Distance Learning Cooperative, or CDLC, and we're also now tagging onto it a Canvas project, because people don't always know that Canvas is the CDLC or the CDLC is Canvas. So the CDLC is what OTAN has named this project, the California Distance Learning Cooperative, and Canvas is the tool that we're using to bring it to the field. And this has been a collaboration between the Sacramento County Office of Education, our Cape TAP project, as well as our OTAN project. So just to give you a little bit of history, we, in 2020, we were, I guess, considering whether or not we needed to move from Moodle to a new LMS that might have additional support for learners, that might have more equitable tools associated with it, be more flexible as far as how students accessed it. And we knew that Canvas was the tool that was being used by 100% of our community college districts, as well as most of the higher education UC and CSU programs, and a lot of our K-12 programs as well. We're starting to go over to Canvas, and so we started exploring it. We did a pretty in-depth survey of the field with over 68 agencies responding, and that correlated to about 200,000 students that those 68 agencies served. Probably about 40 some of those agencies did not yet have Canvas, but they wanted Canvas, and they told us that they could, if we were to offer Canvas, that they could launch a program within 1 year. And so that's where we came up with the idea of, in January 2021, OTAN and Cape TAP launched a Canvas pilot with 25 agencies. And very soon after, we realized that we could expand that pilot to include many, many more agencies. In fact, as many as wanted to join the Canvas project or the CDLC. So now at this point, it's open to anyone to come join the CDLC. It's not a separate pilot. But you might hear it referred to as the pilot. You might hear it referred to as the extension project. But again, this is open to everybody at this point. We're here to support your adult education agency to come onto Canvas too and to see its benefits. Does anybody want to maybe come off of mute or put into chat how you have found Canvas, those of you that have it, how you have found Canvas to be a support for your learners or a benefit to your learners? Maybe Maureen or Kim or Kristen. If you're currently using it, how you've seen it benefit your students.
For us, it's been really flexible for our students to use, and there's lots of different ways to incorporate video and writing and all sorts of different assignments, types of assignments.
Perfect. Thank you, Kristen. Anyone else? Kim, I know you guys have been using it in Elk Grove for a couple of years at this point, right? To some degree.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was multitasking for a second. So yeah, we are using it in Elk Grove. Currently, we use it in our career technical program, career technical education for course materials, and then it is also being used in for our ESL classes. Two of our ESL teachers are using it, and we're just getting off the ground with working with it in our high school diploma program as well. And so far, mostly what the teachers like about it is that, you know, we're working like most people are in adult ed off of multiple different platforms, and it allows them to kind of centralize everything into one, where students can find it instead of sending multiple emails and, you know, that kind of thing. It's all in one repository for them, and they really appreciate that.
Perfect. Thank you. And Pam, I see your question, but will you be demonstrating Canvas? I probably will not be demonstrating Canvas today. I will be, however, I do want to point you to the OTAN's professional development training calendar. A couple times a month, we offer Q&A, questions and answers for administrators, and questions and answers for teachers. You know, if you were to attend one of those sessions, they could do a live demonstration as well. We have a lot of subject matter experts within OTAN who are offering training around Canvas. And if you were to jump into one of those trainings, you would certainly see it in use as well.
There's actually a Q&A tomorrow for teachers.
Thank you, Karen.
And I'm going to put the link into our training calendar.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. So the California Distance Learning Cooperative has many benefits. We, SCOE, or Sacramento County Office of Education, with OTAN, has negotiated statewide pricing for Canvas with Instructure, which is the parent company of Canvas. And within that licensing cost are many services that are included. And from what I hear, this is a very huge discount from what you would do if you would choose to maybe adopt Canvas, maybe on your own as an agency. We've been able to negotiate a much lower rate. Now, don't get alarmed when I say cost and rate, because if you wanted to, you could have a no cost access to Canvas. And only as you kind of build up to more than 50 users would you start to look at a cost that's associated with Canvas. So don't be alarmed. we'll get to that. But some of the benefits is that there is a 9-week implementation training for administrators, Canvas administrators and teachers. About 4 of those weeks are learning about how to set up the Canvas learning management system within your agency, It's learning how to integrate maybe your student information system with your Canvas environment. What your Canvas environment is a unique URL or a unique, address, internet address that your site would have. You're the only ones that are going to have that. And within that URL, you get to have all of your courses, you get to have all of your sandboxes or practice locations. Anything associated with your site and Canvas would be inside that URL. And so those first 4 weeks are really learning about how do you set your URL up for your site and really kind of put yourself on the right footing. And then there's about 5 weeks of asynchronous training where you would watch videos that, I forget the exact name of the videos, but one might be as an administrator, how you would use Canvas at your site, or maybe how you would market it or promote it. For the teachers, how you would build your courses, how you use course shells, that type of thing. There is also a student onboarding video that you would have access to. We also have the CDLC Commons. So maybe you've heard of Canvas Commons. This is a repository, a fully available repository of open educational resources that people have posted to this repository in the cloud, I guess. We have a specific one for the CDLC that will house all adult education materials that our practitioners choose to share to the Commons. So we hope that at some point we will have very high quality materials that are designed specifically for our adult education students that are shared by practitioners like us. So it really is dependent, the growth and the resources in the Commons are really dependent on people submitting their work to the Commons. Studio is a highly sought after service. I've not heard anybody say that it isn't a wonderful, wonderful addition to the Canvas license. It's a full video production capability. And for example, you can use video to do assessments. And there's just a lot of options with the Studio service. We also have Tier 1 24/7 customer service support for both your teachers and your students. Because all of our students are 18 and over, they are able to work with the Instructure staff to get help when they need it, and that's accessed directly through your URL help button. We have also worked with Instructure to design an adult education course template that's easily customizable, as well as you can pop your logo for your site or your adult school in there and make it your own. So, but this is something that is standardized, and I think if you don't know how to start otherwise, you can start with this course template, and it really will help your teachers kind of get off to a successful start. There's also a training portal via Canvas that you can also access through your URL. We have live training, we have recorded webinars, we have, these are all in there from Instructure. This does not count all of the support and webinars and all of that is offered through OTAN. So the training portal via Canvas is all Instructure led and published materials. And then I had mentioned the state leveraged pricing. There is extended training for faculty and staff development through OTAN because of that ongoing partnership with Instructure. Anybody have any questions about anything that I just introduced here?
Gino asked if there's a Zoom type capability.
Oh, thank you. You can integrate Zoom with Canvas. Yes, you can. And I think they call it, I forget exactly what they call it, but is there a Zoom type capability as opposed to Zoom? There are a lot of, I think on the next slide, let's see if it's the next slide. Yes, there's something called Learning Tools Interoperability, or LTI. And those are kind of systems that easily integrate with Canvas. And that could include Google or Google Classroom. It can include Zoom. It can include everything that you see on the screen here. CK12, maybe you've been hearing a lot about that. I know that Debbie Jensen's been doing a lot of trainings for us with OTAN about the open educational resources that are that we've been building on CK12, Nearpod, Flipgrid. I know some folks are using Ventures out there, ESL programs. Ventures has a course shell that can just be dropped directly into your URL if you want to do that. And it's very easy to kind of then extend learning for students because they're learning, you know, maybe via their books or maybe in person or in a blended type classroom. And then they can go home and they can maybe work on the Canvas homework per se, if that's how you choose to set it up, or teachers choose to set it up. Well, there's a lot of customization that can be done with Canvas, and I can't even speak to the half of it at this point. But I was just in a Canvas panel yesterday afternoon, hearing about how some of our teachers and administrators and consortia are using Canvas, and they just had such a wealth of information to share that I think just being able to create opportunities like we're doing right now to be able to share with one another about what we're doing is so important, because there's just, I mean, there's just so many capabilities.
There's a couple questions in the chat. Darlene asked where the pricing can be found.
The pricing is going to be listed in the MOU, but if you can just give me a moment, Darlene, I'll actually get to that. And then I see L. Clausen's question as well. You do need to, you can be a singular teacher that is implementing Canvas at your site. However, the only way that you can get the Canvas URL or access to Canvas under the CDLC is by having your administrator request it, because we really need the administrator to buy into, not money-wise buy-in, but the buy-in of supporting their teachers to be able to use Canvas within their agency. Because our goal as OTAN and as a state is to be able to have, provide access to not only 100% of our adult education agencies statewide, but to all of our students as well, right? Because when they're using Canvas at your adult education site, and then they choose to maybe transition to community college where they're already using it, we're creating that possibility for a warm handoff between these systems. So we're really, we really want it to be kind of it can be teacher-led, but also administrator-supported adoption of Canvas. I hope that answers your question. So you would just have to talk, and I can tell you a little bit more about how you can make that happen, or how you can have that conversation with your administrator. So I talked a little bit about our implementation. The 9-week commitment is the onboarding that I was talking about, with the 4 weeks of online and the 5 weeks of self-paced. We will be asking for occasional data from your agency in support of Canvas, because of course we're trying to make the case with the California Department of Ed that this should be a continually funded project. The California Department of Ed has made a significant contribution already to our Canvas project. They are the ones who have made it possible to have a URL for Canvas at no cost to your agency. That can usually be anywhere from $16,000 for a smaller agency to upwards of $70,000 for a much larger agency, like maybe California Department of Corrections, or something, of massive size might be up around $70,000 for an implementation, and to kind of be initially set up with Canvas. Like I said, the smaller programs, there's just some basic setup costs that are associated with that. That can usually cost upwards of $16,000. We are providing it to all of our agencies at no cost, at least through June of 23, and then we will we will relook at that. But for right now, that's a huge cost savings. So that Darlene speaks to a little bit about the pricing. And then we also have a memorandum of understanding that we've established between Sacramento County Office of Education, or OTAN, and your agency to just demonstrate your commitment to the project. And it's in this MOU that we outline the cost for licensing. It's here. Let me see if I can go to the next, see if I, no. It's here that you will see that it'll talk about the free instance or free URL that you would get. And you would have 50 free licenses. The initial 50 licenses, whether they're used by teachers or by students, they would be free, and every year they would be free. So you would never have to pay for the first 50 licenses. That's something that we've been able to negotiate with CDE. And so the cost comes in when you're when you want more than 50 licenses for your site. At that point, the licenses are $5.50 per license. They are annual licenses, so $5.50 per license, and there is an indirect cost and a management fee from SCOE. That is an additional 14%. So the total cost per license is $6.27, at least through June of 2024. And so for that $6.27, you get all of the services and licensing perks that I've already talked about in this. Let me just check to see. Thank you, Ivan. All right. We do know that it takes a while sometimes to get those MOUs processed with your district. So we will work side by side with you if you want to kind of start implementation while you're getting your MOU approved. We're very flexible to do that with you because we know that we want to work on your timeline, right? If you want to just start with your teachers meeting and maybe no students for a little while, or if you want to start with one student or one teacher and that teacher's students, so maybe just one classroom, you can do that. If you want to start with two classrooms within one program, you're welcome to do that. There are so many different models people have implemented it at their sites. So if you're interested in coming on board with the CDLC, you can go to the expansion list, which is here. And I believe I can share this deck with you when I'm done. But you would get your unique instance for your agency or your URL, and you would have your tier 1 direct support. That's all the help support through Canvas and through OTAN. And but the expansion list is to be filled out by administrators only. So this is something that you could take back to your administrator and say, is it possible to talk about bringing on the Canvas learning management system? And if so, can you please fill out this Google form, the Canvas project expansion, to indicate your interest? Okay, I think I wanted to just point out on this last page under resources, there's a few different resources. This is this slide presentation is a couple months old, but we have created kind of a separate support box system for Canvas. So if you look at aecanvas@scoe.net, or you email aecanvas@scoe.net and you want to express your interest in coming on board with the CDLC, that's another way to do that. Again, we're going to double check that you have administrative support to kind of bring Canvas onto your site. And the memorandum of understanding here, the expansion sign up. There is a benefits, kind of a back-to-back 2-page document that talks more about the benefits of Canvas that maybe could be shared with your teachers and your administrators. And also, I wanted to let you know that we now have a Canvas resources page on the OTAN website. So if you go to .us, and you, let me see if I can do that. Are you guys seeing that I'm going online?
I can do that. Oh, okay.
So I will just go under resources, go to California Distance Learning Cooperative. And are you all seeing this change?
Yes.
Karen? Yes, okay. And then you can read about how we're implementing Canvas throughout the state. And if you scroll down, and it has information and links here to join and access Canvas. You can see the active link for the Memorandum of Understanding, the active link for Canvas, as well as the email acanvas@scoe.net. So that's just on our OTAN website. And I would encourage you to reach out to us that way. All right, I'm going to stop the share. I know we just have a few minutes left together, but what questions do you have, or what more can we, what more can we do to help you to make a decision one way or another? You're welcome to come off of mute. I know we just have about 4 minutes left. And if you do want to speak up, please come off of mute. Yeah.
I
Hi.
have a question about how long does it take to truly, not to become an expert, but to get started in terms of getting a site set up? How many hours would you say?
Gosh, how many hours? Well, when I was talking about the 9-week training, that's a commitment of maybe 1 to 2 hours per week for those 9 weeks.
Okay,
I know that some schools, and this is again just how they're setting them up, some schools are having teachers do part-time in the classroom, part-time out of the classroom, and giving them maybe up to 10 hours per week to be the Canvas administrator. I know other schools or administrators are paying their teachers to participate in trainings to learn Canvas. And so that's really up to the school and how much funding you have available for professional development. But, and it really is very dependent on how quickly you need to implement. Certainly back in the pandemic, some schools did this all in 2 weeks. That's not typical, right? I would say that most people are probably taking 6 to 12 months to fully implement with maybe a few classes. So it really does depend.
okay, a commitment of 9 weeks for 2 hours.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
A commitment of 9 weeks for 2 hours per week, so about 20 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's going to be, it'll be different people, right? I mean, you'll have your Canvas administrator, you might have your site administrator, who doesn't necessarily need to be the same person. In some cases, you might not have a choice, but if you're a really small school, it might be your teachers, 1 or 2 teachers that you really want to start with that are eager to learn and do this with their students. It's it really is dependent on kind of what you see as the vision for implementation of Canvas at your site.
And
No, we
Canvas,
have,
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Canvas works on the administrative side and for the transition specialists as well?
It could. You can use this for professional development with your staff. I know that we've started doing that. We did this fall, we did our new administrator trainings for TAP, the Cape TAP. We did those all through Canvas. So absolutely, you can do that. That's a way to use it. Yeah. We're coming right up on 2:30. I do want to encourage you, if you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, Renee Collins, and I'm sure you can find my information by looking at OTAN or Cape TAP, but also you can reach me by doing the aecanvas@scoe.net email. If you have any questions about Canvas, I'm super happy to answer them. And we have Karen DeVerence on the call with us today too. Right now she's listed as Cape 3 Summit, but she's one of our newest OTAN staff members, and she's here to help with any of your Canvas questions as well. So we're all here to to provide you whatever support you might need.
Renee, there was one other question in the chat. I didn't know if you wanted to answer it before we end.
Okay, and it is,
It's from Ivan. He said this may be difficult to answer, but what do you think are the odds of obtaining additional funding to continue this program beyond this fiscal year? I have a hunch that my program directors will want to know this before making a commitment.
we will continue indefinitely to have at least the amount of support that we have. The implementation costs that I mentioned that, it can sometimes be anywhere from 16 to 70,000 is a one-time fee only. We're covering that cost at OTAN. That's never something that you will have to pay for if you come on during the CDLC. The only thing that your school will be responsible for is that licensing cost per student of $5.50 per student, and then with the management fee on top of that, the $6.27 per student. So that $6.27 is guaranteed through June of 2024, and we will be negotiating again with Canvas Instructure at that point to try and keep that cost very low for our adult ed students. They are very supportive of what we're trying to do statewide, and I can only see that they will continue to be supportive. So, so Ivan, I hope I've answered that question. If you wanted to come on board right now, you can know that you can have that free URL, that free Canvas instance. You can have 50 free licenses. There is no cost to you beyond what it takes for you to support your teachers to implement at your site. And then once you're past that 50 licenses, you just tell us how much you believe that you would use within a given year, and that's how many you can order and identify in the MOU. You can use CAPE dollars for this. You can use WIOA $2 for this. So again, it's just really what you're prioritizing at your site, but we really hope that you'll consider prioritizing Canvas. We really want to make it available for the entire field, just as it's available for the entire community college and non-credit system, as well as many of our other educational systems. The link to the CDLC. What does that mean, Karen? What's the link, please? Sophia, can you tell us what link you're looking for?
Sophia.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it. It was mentioned the CDLC. I wasn't sure what it was.
Sure. Okay, thank you, Karen. Yeah, just a moment, we'll put it in there.
Thank you.
Any other last questions? Otherwise, thank you very much for coming today. I hope that you consider coming on board, talking to your administrators.
Here comes Sophia.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Karen.
Yeah, got it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
No, thank you.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
All right, thank you,
Have
everyone.
a good rest of the summit.